and welcome to my brand new YouTube channel, Garden Vibes with V. I am V. I am a backyard gardener in Georgia, Zone 8A. This is my very first YouTube video, sort of an introduction to tell you a little bit about me and to show you my garden. I started gardening in 2016 right here in the backyard in a little area that I dug out, approximately 6 by 8. I added a little bit of compost and I planted seeds and starts. Now, I had no idea what I was doing back then, but I planted and grew the basics: collard greens, tomatoes, peppers, that sort of thing. I did that for a couple of years in ground before moving on to 2 4x4 raised beds. Now, I found that it was much easier planting in a raised bed versus in ground because there were far less weeds. I got pretty good at it and I do enjoy gardening, so I decided to expand the garden. I expanded the garden in 2022 and I expanded to 6 4x4 raised beds and 1 4x8. I also added bare root fruit trees. Since then, I have added various raised beds and grow bags. I currently have 15 raised beds and approximately 25 grow bags that are currently in use. I started this channel to share some tips and tricks that I have learned over the years, as well as get help from other gardeners in areas where I'm still struggling. So I hope you join me in my gardening journey, as I do have many goals planned for this year. I plan to add a new greenhouse, some trellising, as well as plant some new varieties of vegetables and flowers. And now, let's go ahead and do a quick tour of the garden. So on this side of the yard, we get partial sun. So I have pears and plums. They don't require all day sun, so that's what's planted here: pears and plums. Here in the middle of the yard, we have a flower bed. I am still building this flower bed. Sorry, that noise is a little fountain I purchased, and I put a little solar fountain water feature I put in there, and there's no water in there, so that's why it's making that noise. But here I am planting perennials in the middle here, and on the border I plant annuals so that I may have color spring, summer, and fall. On the edge, this is the only thing edible, is a very large elderberry bush or tree. It is an American elderberry. I planted it in 2022, bare root, about 12 inches tall. So a little stick, about a foot tall. In 2024, it grew to the size you see today, and it flowered and gave me berries. Beautiful bush when it flowers. I'll show you a picture. But yeah, I love that tree. On this side, we have apples and peaches. In that pot there, right there, that's a apricot. I purchased that bare root last year. Now, I didn't put it in the ground. I used to have 2 cherries there in that area I dug out, and right there where that's in a pot. This area, for some reason, just this area, is very dense clay, very dense. So the cherries died in 2020. I planted them in 2022. They didn't make it. I replaced them in 2023. They didn't make it. I dug the hole out and noticed that it was filled with water. I left it. About a week went by. There was zero drainage. So I fill that hole with pine bark. I saw a video someone made that said pine bark would improve dense clay. I did that in 2024. I did nothing last year. I'm going to check it this year to see what happens. Hopefully it is better. If there's anyone that knows what I can do to fix this area, please kindly put it in the comments and help me out, because I do want to fix this soil so that I can plant again in this area. I wanted to plant this year, but I don't know, that clay is pretty dense. Now on the end here, I didn't have that problem. It drains, but it is a slow drain. I had a peach here last year, a little dainty thing, but gave me an abundance of peaches. The tree was weighed down with peaches, so I staked it. A storm came through and broke it in half. Right at the neck where the support band that held the stake was, that's where it snapped. So that tree died. This is a replacement. This is an Alberta peach. But this does pretty well. It doesn't have any issue. It's a slow drain, but it doesn't kill the tree. Oh, and I did fill the bottom of this one with wood chips prior to planting, or pine bark rather, prior to planting. Here's just some figs and berries that I purchased end of year, big box store, you know, when everything goes 50% off, that I'll be potting up this spring. Coming on down, this is the main garden. Okay, we have, I think these are 20-gallon grow bags here. I normally put sweet potatoes there. I do 3 bags of the traditional orange and 3 bags there of the oriental red that are white on the inside. I have a little trellis here I made. It's not strong. I bought this, I don't know what you call this, but it comes from like the masonry department of the big box stores. I made that. I saw someone do it in a video, and it works fine as long as you're not going to grow anything heavy. I grew squash, butternut squash, up the back, on the back one, because I have 2, and it bent it in. That's why that one is kind of warped, because the weight of the squash bent it all the way in. I tried to fix it back, but I couldn't get the original shape back. I grew yard-long beans up that one in the back last year, and they did fine. This one, I had the vine of the sweet potato growing up the side because they kept flopping over and attaching themselves to these beds. And when I did that, this whole side caved in. So this has to go. It's not strong enough. I may or may not repurpose it somewhere else in the garden, but I will be recreating this entrance. I used to have my entrance coming in right here where you see the walkway. I don't know why I changed it. I put that board there to put these bags. I don't know why I did that, because of course grow bags don't need a support board. This little area is how I get in now. It's too small because in the summer when everything's growing, I'm constantly stepping on vines and things like that. So I'll be recreating this entry area into the main garden. I'm going to take you around to the front of the main garden. Okay. This is the main garden. I have Dollar Tree stackables on the corners of the garden. I chose to do this because I wanted to see if I would enjoy vertical gardening. And I did. Everything I planted grew abundantly. So I did purchase 4 green stalks last year that I will be putting together and replacing this one and this one with. I will keep these though, because I want to probably repurpose them in the back. That's what I'll do. Here in the front are 2 by 8s. I have 3 of them, 2 by 8s, just some extra growing space. In 2022, when I created this garden, I had bordered the whole garden in. So when I put these here, there's a little gap, as you can see. See a little gap there? That's where I put onions, right in between. And they do very well, very well. Okay, so I'll be doing that again this year. This is only my 3rd year growing onions. This was the 4x8 bed that I had when I originally put the garden in 2022. When I expanded the garden in 2022, I put brassicas in here. I had a little space on the end because the 4x8 ended there. I added another board that I repurposed, and I guess it's probably like maybe a little more than a 5x8 now. I wanted a larger bed. The problem is I can't get to the vegetables in the middle without crawling into the bed. So I will be modifying this bed this year and replacing wood, because in 2022, when I built this bed, the wood I purchased was not treated. So as you can see on the corner, I don't know if you can see, that has rotted out and broke. So I'm going to replace that and clean this whole thing up this year. Moving on here to the back of that, you can see that's the border that I had put, because this part of the yard slopes, and so I wanted to build it up with soil because I didn't want my beds sloping as much as they were. So a couple of years ago, I added a little extra growing space here. What you see here, that's a 4x8 bed. I have garlic chives at the front, but squash behind that. I then do one row of okra behind the squash, and then there's usually like a 4x4 area left right here. I put corn in that area of the bed. Behind that bed, I had leftover brick from when I had my plastic greenhouse I had up here. I moved it, and the area where it's in now, it doesn't require all those bricks. So I use these bricks to make another little bed here, which I need to fix it this spring. I put brassicas in here. I put Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and anything else that's left over that won't fit in the beds up front. I do that because the corn here shades this bed. That gives me a few more weeks to allow these plants to mature if they're not maturing by, I don't know, say late May, because it's really starts to get hot, really hot during that time. So that gives me a little bit time to have those items in that bed mature. These are 2x4s in the front. I put these in also last year. I just planted some elephant garlic in this one about a month and a half ago. It hasn't come up yet. It was store-bought. This would be my first year with elephant garlic, so we'll see what happens. This is regular garlic I bought online. I really should have had some straw in here. First year I've ever let it grow without putting straw in. As you can see, the straw is there. I procrastinated and just never put it in. And here in this bed, we have kale and spinach. Okay. Now we're going to go to the back that never was supposed to be a part of growing. So this area was just the back of the yard that wasn't fenced in, an area that was supposed to be for composting. Okay. And all of my mess that I did not want seen in the front of the yard, because it would become an eyesore. So I put everything back here. Any leftover seedlings are back here. Now originally back here again, composting. I was going to put a compost bin of 3 or 4 bins on the back of this fence and just use it for composting so it wouldn't be an eyesore in the main yard. Well, as you can see, this is the wood line, and it's very dense here in the summertime, and I kept hearing things rustle and move around, and I'm like, what in the world is that? So I was scared. So I had it fenced in so I can feel safe, and then I just made it a container garden, and that's when I put these bags back here, and all my leftover seedlings go here. And everything surprisingly did very well this summer back here. I'm going to probably design this area. Those posts are left over from an old gazebo I had that blew away. I kept them. I kept the post part of the gazebo because I think I can do something with that, some type of project. Maybe buy a lamp to go on and make a little lamp post back here when I design this area. I also stuck some figs and what is those? Those are 3 figs, and these are blueberries. I had them in pots, and I also stuck those back here. That's a globe artichoke. It was extra. I stuck that in. And these are just some flowers. I think these are Shasta daisies. One there and one there. I don't know why they haven't died out with the cold. And that would be it. That's it. That's my little garden. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And click the notification button so that you will be notified when I upload my next video, when I will be starting brassicas, onions, and herbs indoors. I hope to see you all there. Bye-bye, guys.